There are 6 deadly secrets that every father must know to be successful. Whether it's fixing a broken relationship, growing a business, finding work-life balance, or just being happy and fulfilled as a man, these 6 deadly secrets come into something called the Empowered Man's Code. And in this podcast episode, I'm going to walk you through exactly what this Empowered Man's Code is, how you can use it to upgrade your operating system and ultimately access power as a modern day man. So strap in, listen up, there's going to be a ton of value here to help you level up and grow as a modern day man. Men need this, man. They need this. They need a code. They need an operating system. Like if you think about it, so many men in this day and age, they just operate from a place of default. It's like the way that you communicate with your wife and the way that you get into arguments is default. It's like driving a car, right? You know, when you're driving a car and you look up from the dash and you haven't seen the road for like a good 30 seconds, in your head, instantly you think, shit, I should probably pay more attention. But to this date, neither of us have crashed that way, right? It's because your body like has this default setting. And we do this in every area, man. Like we do it in terms of procrastination. We do it in terms of yelling at the kids. We do it in terms of how we do stress in business. Like we do stress. We don't just get stressed. We do it in terms of how we, operate as a leader. There are these default settings. And if you think about it on your phone, there's an operating system. Do you ever get those like annoying updates on your phone? Yeah. And if you don't do them, unfortunately, the phone starts to slow down.
Yeah.
I think as well, what they do is they drain the battery faster. I could be wrong about that.
Yeah.
But if you think about it as an operating system, and one of the biggest problems for men in this day and age, is that they don't have an operating system to win at life in their relationships with their partner or kids, in their wealth, in their business, in their health. They just show up because they think they need to, but they don't have an operating system. They don't upgrade this. The way you operate dictates everything. And if you can master that, you win as a man. So what we're going to be discussing today, as per the intro, is the Empowered Man Code. And this is actually something that Sam and I have been using for 5 years. It's one of the first things I created in the Empowered Man. This is what it looks like. So the code, if you're listening right now, is a set of 6 deadly secrets that every single man must know. And when I say deadly secrets, I mean, they're public knowledge, but no one thinks about them in terms of an operating system, right? And I'm going to read them out to you really quick. I'm going to dive into each one of these. There's also going to be a link in the description box down below this video or audio, wherever you're listening, where you can actually download this code free of charge. There's no opt-in. We don't need your email, anything like that. You'll literally be able to just download it for free. So print it out, put it somewhere. So the 6 principles of the code we're going to be going through today are responsibility, focus, routine, action, growth, and failing forward. And we're going to break down each of these over the next 30 minutes or so. Sam, why do you think so many men go through life without a code, without an operating system, without a set of rules that ensure they are winning and successful in their health, wealth, and relationships? Why do so many men lack this?
Men lack having a code because no one ever taught us to have a code. No one ever taught us to have a focus of principles that we live by, and we go through life flying by the seam of our pants, whatever that line is, and we basically replicate what we've seen as we've grown up, what we know, or that's how they did it. Oh, my parents deflected responsibility onto everyone else. Maybe I will too. There was no focus on personal growth or anything like that, so I'm not going to focus on that. They blame everyone else. I'm going to blame everyone else. We just replicate what we know unless we step in and consciously change our operating system, upgrade our operating system, as you said.
So well said, man. It's what we were taught or not taught, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, man, if you are a male in 2023 and beyond, and you are not where you want to be with your partner, as a father, in your business, in your wealth, in your bank account, in your health, and the way you look when you look in the mirror, if you're not there, I guarantee 100% that you do not have an operating system. You don't have a set of rules that allow you to win every single day. It's just guaranteed, right? Because we don't think about this stuff. And the way you change that is you got to follow a code. You got to take responsibility. You got to focus on the right things. You got to have a great routine. You got to take massive action. You got to grow each day and learn, and you got to fail forward. Those 6 things will change your life forever. And we're going to dive into them today. Before we do that, One of the most shocking statistics around men, and this is verbatim, it's not I don't know the exact statistic, but around 70 to 80% of male suicides, rape, jail, and homelessness, around 70 to 80% in America, comes from fatherless children. It comes from fatherless children, right? Whether the mother is a single mother or they've got no parents at all, fatherless children make up the vast majority of all the negative statistics in society. That is fascinating. In America, they have one of the highest rates of fatherless children in the world. I don't remember the exact number. It was like 25% or something of children don't have their fathers in their lives, especially young males. So you can understand how, whether you're divorced or separated, or whether you're just working all the time and not with your little boy, how that can destroy so many men, and how we don't imprint the right principles into them. Shocking statistic, man. And I was raised by my mother. She did a great job, but I've had to deal with a lot of trauma, and I've had to learn how to be a man by spending 250 grand on myself and teaching the shit we teach now on this podcast. Whereas a lot of men don't have to deal with that because they were raised right from the jump. Like your son, Luca. How old is Luca now? Is he 5?
He's
4?
Nearly 5, a couple of weeks.
He's 5 in a couple of weeks. Yeah. So, how have you observed this? Because you weren't, like, when you were younger, were you imprinted with an operating system? And how does the way you father differ to how the way you were fathered?
Well, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I look back over the way that I was parented and the way that I parent, and there are a lot of things that I do very similar in terms of building him up and doing the best that I can with what I have. I am very intentional with my son. I'm very intentional about, actually, as I go through the code, I'm very intentional about a lot of these areas with my son that we'll dive into today. However, I want to set him up to win at life. If I want to set him up to win at life and succeed, it's not about what degree he gets. It's not about the grades he gets at school. It's setting him up with an operating system where he can take responsibility, where he can focus his attention, where he can have standards that are set within the home. Obviously, as he grows and gets older, those standards will change and shape. But it's about taking action and responsibility and growing. And one of the things he teaches me, I parent him, but he teaches me, is the power of getting back up when life throws you down. Now, for him, life throws him down when the TV stops working, or he can't find his toy or whatever, but he gets back up and he keeps on looking and he keeps on following through, which is really, really powerful.
I love that, man. That's powerful. Yeah. So we might as well dive into the first piece of the code. And we talked about this in the previous podcast episode and many others, and it's probably the basis of all success for men. The number one thing you can do to be successful as a man, to fix your relationship if it's broken, to increase your bank balance if it's low, to feel and look amazing, to be the man you can be, the best version of yourself, is to take responsibility. And there are 4 key areas you can take responsibility of as a man. They are your thoughts, feelings, actions, and reactions. The external world is full of chaos, and you cannot control it. You can only influence it. What you can control is what you think, what you feel, your emotions, the actions you take or the things you don't do, and how you react or respond to the world. Now, a lot of the time as men, we say, you made me feel, or because of this, or because of that. As soon as we hand that responsibility outside of ourselves, we lose our power. And that's the first part of the Empowered Man Code, is I take full responsibility for my thoughts, feelings, actions, and reactions. I take full responsibility for the quality of my life. So whether it's your relationship breaking down, your wife has a role to play. What can you take ownership for? Whether your business is falling apart because of COVID or recession, what can you take responsibility for? When you live in a place of responsibility, man, you just begin to win. Now, we had a guy who emailed us. So we have people listen to this podcast. We put it out for free, man. You got to understand what we do here. I have a life, I have a business, I make money, right? And we coach a lot of men. We have 140 clients at the moment. And we had a guy who opted in for our training, and he's like, your program's $6,000. How dare you charge such exorbitant prices? Where's all the free stuff? I'm like, bro, take some fucking responsibility here. You don't have to, all of you guys listening to this, you don't have to pay us a cent. We put this out for free. If you invest in our program, you'll get amazing results. Most of our clients make way more money, fix their marriage in 2 weeks. But I saw a guy who was lacking this responsibility, and it shocked me. And no one's taught this to him. Now, he was also unemployed and having relationship issues. It's so easy in that place to be a victim. And I have no judgment towards him, but I'm telling that guy, if he's listening right now, and I hope he is, the only way your life's going to change, bro, is take some fucking responsibility. And that's really hard. That's really fucking hard. Why is responsibility the first thing that we teach, Sam? And how do we start to implement it in our lives?
Taking responsibility for a lot of men is terrifying, I believe, because it's like breaking down that ego. The ego that won't let us see the other 5 steps in the code. Taking responsibility is looking at yourself in the mirror, looking at your life, and rather than going, poor me, this has all happened to me, it's like, well, how can I take ownership? How can I take responsibility? Might not have been my fault, but what I do with it right now is up to me. Mm-hmm. And when we get that, we can start moving forward with our lives. If we're not willing to take responsibility, then we can't expect things to change.
Exactly. You know, we can expect, but we'll be met with disappointment.
Yeah.
Like, we expect these things as men. We expect our partner to get her shit together. We expect our kids to not, you know, make a mess. We expect our employees to understand. It's like, bro, what can you take ownership for here? Mm-hmm. We had a team member leave at Empowered Man, you know, running a business. A lot of listeners are business owners. Hired a guy, trained him for the last 2 months, put a lot of time into him. You know, he's doing really well. He's enjoying it. He's offered another role at another company that he can't turn down. So he says, I've got to leave. And within the space of a week, we lose that team member and we lost another team member. So our team got cut by 25%. And I could have sat there and blamed him or blamed this or blamed that. I'm like, cool. What can I take ownership for here? What can I learn? Cool. So maybe we should hire 2 of that person so that we have 3 total. And if 1 leaves, we're fine. Then I wrote down another lesson. It's not a matter of if, when someone will leave. It's a matter of when. Someday, Sam, some sad day, you might not be here with me at Empowered Man. It breaks my heart to even think about it, but it's a not matter of if, it's a matter of when. It could be 5 years, 20 years, it could be 1. I don't know. But these are the responsibility pieces we get to take. So if you're a man with relationship issues, if you want to have a better business, if you want to be the man, fix your marriage, whatever it is, what can you take responsibility for? And often the things that fuck you up are your thoughts, feelings, actions, and reactions. Negative thoughts, negative feelings, negative actions, negative reactions. On the flip side, to win, positive thoughts, positive feelings, positive actions, positive reactions. Empowered, disempowered. Second piece of the Empowered Man Code is focus. I focus on the things I'm grateful for every single day. Where focus goes, energy flows. Where focus goes, energy flows. Now, let me give you an example of how this works. Everything in your life is perspective. Sam, is murder bad?
Sometimes.
Okay. Who are you trying to kill, Sam? When is murder not bad? What are we doing here? This is a tough one. Why that answer?
Well, I mean, as a global language, murder is bad. Yes, murdering someone is bad. But what if...
Let's change it. Sorry, murder's bad. Is killing someone bad?
Killing someone. Depends on what level. Like, not always, because what if you're acting in self-defense when your life is at threat?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Absolutely. I was hoping you'd say that, and I was hoping you'd have some plans or something, bro, because we are recording this. This is broadcast to like at least 100 men. So the reason I ask, and that's a great example, right? So imagine if you are on Earth and you have a cold shower. This is something we teach. We're going to teach you guys over the next 7 episodes, everything we teach in the Empowered Man at no charge. You can just have it. You have to pay $6,000, $15,000, 20. You can have it for free, right? Imagine you're having a cold shower in the morning and just for the argument's sake, the water coming out is 0 degrees Celsius, right? Now, would you say that's cold? Or 0 degrees Fahrenheit?
Pretty damn cold.
Pretty cold? Cool.
Damn cold.
Awesome. Now, let's say you go and have that same shower on Pluto. That's a pretty shitty example because water wouldn't flow, it would freeze, but let's just humor me for a second. Let's say that 0 degree water, you have that shower, but the surface temperature of that planet's minus 200 degrees Celsius or Fahrenheit. Is that water now cold?
Yeah, it'd probably be a pretty pleasant shower.
It's warm.
It's warm.
It's hot. This is the power of perspective. Okay. When I go downstairs and my wife is stressed and overwhelmed because she has to look after Talia, our daughter, she doesn't have to. She gets to. That's her role in the relationship at this time of our bond. and I'm working all day, I can focus on how unfair it is that I've had 7 meetings, 2 people leave, a stressful day, and that, she's stressed and that's not fair, or I can focus on how I can help her. And the reality is, man, this is such a powerful secret. This is deadly when you learn it, for fathers, for men, for husbands. Where focus goes, energy flows. And it's not about the circumstance. It's about the story you create around it. 2 team members left. Oh my God, I can't find good staff. Everything's fucked. I'm screwed. 2 team members left. What can I learn from this? How can I be grateful for it? How is this serving me? It's the same circumstance. It's the same problem or challenge, but the difference is the way we focus on it and the story that we create. And when you learn this, it sounds so glaringly simple. When you learn this, nothing can stop you. Because when you focus on the things you're grateful for every single day, every challenge becomes a blessing. You are going through a divorce. How did this feel for you at the beginning?
The divorce?
Yeah. It's easy to hear. Everything I just said makes sense, right? But what happens when your wife says, I don't love you anymore? Easy to say it. What happens in that moment? What happens to your focus?
Oh, my focus just went so downhill. I didn't know that I was going to make it through. I didn't know I was going to be sitting here today.
Yep.
Broke every fiber of my being.
Yep.
And I focused on that for, there was quite a few months where I was focused on what had happened to me and how unfair it was and all of those things. And my energy went into that and it was draining me. Now, having done a lot of work on myself this year, I look at the circumstance and I'm so grateful for the 11 years of marriage that I had. I'm so grateful for the lessons. I'm so grateful for my son. That is obviously a result of part of our marriage. I'm so grateful that my ex-wife and I are amicable and good friends and great co-parents. And I'm so grateful that now I have almost a blank canvas to recreate and rebuild my life.
Yep.
And that's what I'm focusing on.
You're choosing to focus on, but so many men, how many men have a separation or divorce and they just can't get through it?
Yeah.
They spend years dwelling on it, complaining about it, lacking trust with other women, and not taking any responsibility for it. Hey legend, if you're getting value from this podcast, then you're going to love our Empowered Man 7-Day Challenge. Inside, we've taken some of the best content our clients invest thousands of dollars for to change their lives, and we've given it to you in the course of 7 days. This challenge is worth over $3,000, and you can get it for $37, 97% off. Inside, we'll teach you how to fix your marriage and relationships and reconnect with your partner, your kids, your wife. We will teach you how to take back your time, how to take back your power, get into powerful routines, and how to take control of your life, take control of your mind, take control of your business, take control of your health, take control of your wealth. Sounds too good to be true, but there's a complete money back guarantee. So if you're enjoying this podcast, go to elitebusinessman.com/challenge. That's elitebusinessman.com/challenge. It's going to be in the call notes as well, and you'll be able to register for this challenge that will completely change your life. The amount of comments we get on our ads, man, we spend about 50 to 100 grand a month on advertising on Facebook. We have ads talking about everything we talk about in this podcast. Take responsibility. Your wife has a role to play, but we can't change her. Work on yourself, become better. And we get so many comments saying, yeah, but. Yeah, but the justice system in Australia is unfair for fathers. Completely agree. The system's fucked. What happens when your wife takes your kids away from you? What happens when she just leaves out of the blue and you've done nothing wrong? And I'm like, bro, victim mentality. Your wife doesn't leave out of the blue. It doesn't happen. There's rare cases where she cheats, but why would someone cheat if they're getting everything they need from their partner? Do you see the logic there?
Yeah.
We get into these emotional states as men and we focus on how unfair the justice system is and focus on how men get shafted and this and that. It's like, you're right. You're right about all those things. It's extremely unfair. But what does focusing on something you can't control do for you? It completely disempowers you. Because if you cannot control it, therefore you have no power. And if you have no power, you're fucked. But how you shift that, it's like, cool. The justice system's unfair. What am I going to do about it? And a really powerful question you can ask yourself, if your marriage is breaking down, if your relationships aren't working, for example, a very powerful question you can ask yourself is, what can I take responsibility for? And how is this serving me? What is this here to teach me? how's this here to help me grow? If you can ask yourself those things in the hardest time of your life, going through a divorce or a separation, and you ask yourself and you focus on the answer to those questions, because your focus is on those things, you can't be focused on how it's the hardest time of your life. You can't have two separate focuses at the same time. It's very difficult to do. So if you focus on the growth, the lessons from the challenge of a divorce, for example, or bankruptcy or whatever, that's how you grow to avoid that ever happening again. But most men just focus on the negatives. It's a default setting. So the second principle, I focus on the things I'm grateful for every single day. What are you grateful for? This is part of our morning routine. 3 things you're grateful for in your life. And remember the mantra, whenever you're not getting what you want, just go, cool. Where focus goes, energy flows. Remind yourself of that and ask yourself, what am I focusing on? And this takes time, by the way. 6 months ago, if 2 team members left, I would have been fucking upset for the whole day. 2 years ago, I would have got fucked up and drank or smoked heaps of weed. Whereas now I'm like, cool, what am I going to do about it? It takes a minute. Principle number 3, or the deadly secret every man must know to be successful as a father, as a husband, as a business owner, is routine. And our principle here, I'll share my screen so everyone can see it. Again, I'll share this document with you guys after this call, after this podcast, is routine. I am a man of routine. I'm committed to completing my non-negotiable standards. I am a man of routine. I'm committed to completing my non-negotiable standards. Now, we're going to teach this in next week's podcast episode. So make sure if you've listened this far, you give this a like, give this a thumbs up, drop a comment down below. Let us know what you'd like to learn about. One of the first things we teach our empowered man clients who do invest $6,000, $15,000, $20,000, sometimes $50,000 to work with us is routine, right? And we teach something called non-negotiable standards. Now, the most successful men on the planet have non-negotiable standards. They wake up and whether they feel like it or not, they brush their teeth. You don't have to think about brushing your teeth. It feels disgusting if you don't. You brush them because it's a part of who you are. It's not like going to the gym where you wake up and it's cold outside and you go, I can't be bothered. It's non-negotiable. It's a standard. It's something that just happens. And the most successful men, their non-negotiable standards are getting up on time at the same time 7 days a week, reflecting, journaling, writing down thoughts and feelings, having a plan, executing on that plan, exercising, eating well, meditating. There are standards that successful men uphold, whether they feel like it or not. And that's what it means to be non-negotiable. You got to have it non-negotiable if you want to be successful. For so many men, it's negotiable. It's so negotiable. What are the barriers that we see in the clients we coach? Some of them make 60 million a year. They struggle with this. What are the barriers that prevent us from making these things non-negotiable?
The barriers for so many men in making some of these standards non-negotiable is that we're full of excuses. We're full of reasons as to why we can't, or why, we can't take control of our day from the minute we get up but my situation's different. We hear that all the time. My situation's different. You don't understand. I'm, a CEO, or I'm this, or I'm that. I can't commit to, and it's stories. We create these stories as to why to excuse us from taking action, to excuse us from having routine and non-negotiable standards. I shared with our clients on Tuesday night a quote. It came to me 5 minutes before the call. I said, inconsistency will never serve you, but it will confuse you. When I'm not in routine and I'm not adhering to my non-negotiable standards and I'm inconsistent, I'm so confused. What do I do in the morning? What do I do when I get up? How does my day look? I've got no control. It's like this ball of chaos.
Yeah.
And I'm confused. I'm overwhelmed. And as a result, we do nothing.
Yeah.
When I've got routine, I've got bookends of my days. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm clear. I'm regimented in my state, my flow. I'm flowing in my state. I think we talked about that on a podcast. And I adhere to these standards irrespective of whether I feel like it or not. I love what we teach is you get into bed at night and you look over your standards, you haven't completed them, you get up and you do them because they're non-negotiable.
Exactly. And it becomes a routine. Like the next secret and deadly standard that we're going to share is actually action, which is tied into routine. So action is the things that you do, or actions are the things you do. So when I go and grab that drink of alcohol, I'm taking an action. when I put on my running shoes and I go for a run, those are two actions, right? You have action and inaction. And before action or alongside action comes routine. Routine is the things you do in order, day, night, 365. And a lot of men, they have routines that don't actually go extend into the weekend. We have this weird thing we do as men where like the weekend is some mystical day where the names of the day are different. So therefore we can drop our standards. And I'll tell you right now, one of the biggest pieces of my success that's helped make us multiple seven figures, helped us grow the team, helped hundreds of thousands of men, helped me be a better husband. One of the biggest things for me that shifted last year in 2022 was to actually do my routine 7 days a week.
Mm.
I thought it was healthy to give yourself a break. So I'd wake up at 4:45 every day, Monday to Friday, and I'd do my routines in order, like, everything we teach, we'll teach in next week's episode. And then Saturday would come along and I'd sleep in. And then Sunday I'd sleep in even later. And it sounds silly, right? Because a lot of men do this. But the problem is it completely fucks with your biology, your body clock, and your body gets really confused, like you said. What did you say? It was routine will never serve you, but it will confuse you.
Inconsistency will never serve.
Inconsistency,
Yeah.
which is inconsistency is a break in your routine.
Mm.
So if you're listening to this right now, like, become a man of routine. What that means is I am a man of routine. I do it. Like I do complete my non-negotiable standards. You got to figure out what that is for you. Simply getting up at the same time, Monday to Saturday, Sunday. Obviously, if you work shift work, it's a bit harder. Going to bed at the same time.
Mm.
When you wake up, following the same process, go for a walk or go to the gym, brush your teeth, do some breathing exercise. We'll teach you our routine next week, but like you got to be consistent every single week.
Mm.
The fourth deadly secret that every father, every man must know to be successful in every endeavor of life is action. If you think about it, the only way to fix your marriage is action. The only way to be a better father is action. The only way to learn is listening to this podcast, taking action. The only way to lose weight is action. The only way to get out of a state of depression is action. The only way you can change anything in your life is by taking massive fucking action. And that is the fourth principle here, the fourth deadly secret, the tenet of our code at the Empowered Man, is I am a man who takes massive action whether I feel like it or not. If you want to win as a man, you get to say right now, out fucking loud, and believe it, live it, and breathe it, I am a man who takes massive fucking action whether I feel like it or not. Include the fucking, because you got to have some emphasis there. I am a man who takes massive fucking action whether I feel like it or not, whether it's raining or not, whether I'm tired or not, whether I'm stressed or not. I have goals. I want to be better. I want to fix my marriage. I want to be a better partner. I want to make more money. Good. Everyone does, bro. You got to take massive fucking action whether you feel like it or not. And action is a muscle. The more you do it, the more you work that muscle, it just becomes your default state. You don't feel like it? Good. Let's fucking go.
Mm.
If you can become consistent with that routine of taking action, you will win. But so many men are full of excuses, man. I used to be one of them. How do you take action, man? What's the secret? What's the formula?
The formula to take action, number one, is to make a commitment. We make commitment in business. We sign on the dotted line and we adhere to it. We talk to a lot of successful men and they've got the structure, they've got the routine, they're taking action on their business and they're following through with that. Yet for some reason, tell ourselves a story that I don't have to do the same thing in my own life. So we're inconsistent and incongruent.
Mm.
And action and commitment for us, they're not correlated for so many. For us, they are. But it starts with commitment. When you make a commitment, you follow through. Now, one of the dangers with taking massive action, a lot of, not a lot of men, but there's some men that we've spoken to recently who are like, I just need to ease into it. I just need to ease in and make sure I'm comfortable. I'm like, dude, this isn't meant to feel comfortable. This is meant to cost you something. This is meant to cost you that warm, cozy sleep in and snoozing your alarm. It's meant to cost you because it's about weighing up the cost. But taking action and massive action, drastic action, is what's going to get you results that you've never had before, because more often than not, massive action is doing things you've never done before.
Yeah. Well said. For a man to win and have a great relationship, great body, great bank balance, there's two types of action. There's slow action and there's massive action. Slow action is like when there's a cold pool or the ocean and you slowly tiptoe in. My wife does this. Slowly tiptoeing in, and it takes probably 4 to 10 times longer to get into that water or that ocean as it takes me. Because what I'll do, and what most high performance men do who are really driven, is they'll just fucking run into the ocean. And they'll just get cold really fast and they'll warm up really fast. Whereas some men take that slow action, that place of comfort. They think it's comfortable, but really it prolongs the discomfort. Now, that's only a matter of seconds we're talking about here. But if you take slow action throughout a day, a week, a month, a year, over the span of your lifetime, you could be 10 to 20 years behind your competition. And as man, you are in competition. As a man, you are constantly in competition. So in your life, you can take the slow road or the fast road, and it's not meant to be comfortable. Winning is uncomfortable. Going to the gym and working out destroys your muscles. It tears them to shreds so that they can grow back together. Got to take action to win as a man, whether you feel like it or not. Jump in the fucking deep end. If you can do that, bro, you'll win. There are areas of your life right now that you've got to take action on. Like if you've listened to any of the previous podcasts, we talk about relationships, having a difficult conversation with your wife, taking ownership for the shit you haven't done well as a father, husband, business owner, going to the gym, getting healthy, hiring a mentor, working with us or someone. Like there are things you know that you get to do, but there's something holding you back, bro. And you know what it is? It's safe to stay on the fence, isn't it? If I just stay on the fence and I don't make that commitment, then like, I haven't really failed, have I? But the real failure is doing nothing. The real failure as a man has been on your deathbed and going, fuck, I wasn't the best version of myself. That should be a relentless pursuit of excellence for men. Just like we talked about earlier with our children, like, man, I've had to spend so much time and money dealing with the trauma I built from my childhood of not having a full family, not being taught these lessons we teach now. Like, fuck, we can change that by doing the things we teach in this podcast. Which leads us to our fifth deadly secret every man must know to be successful. And that is growth. Growth. At Empowered Man, we teach a simple principle around growth. Simple principle, right? I become at least 1% better every single day. I'm chasing progress over perfection. I become at least 1% better every single day. I'm chasing progress over perfection. As a man, if you become 1% better in your relationship, as a father, as a business owner, as a husband, as a man, if you become 1% better each day, that's not 365% a year. That's 3,600% a year because it compounds. If you make your standard operating procedure as a man, your operating system, constant growth, 1% a day means you are 36 times better at the end of the year. And every opportunity in life, every interaction, every circumstance, every problem, every challenge, everything that hurts is an opportunity to grow. And if you can take responsibility, focus on how it's an opportunity to grow, get into a good routine, take action on the things that hurt you, you will grow. You become 1% better every day, and you don't become perfect, but you chase progress, constantly growing. That, my friends, is the power of being an empowered man. So many men just stay stuck, not just men, humans. Do you know anyone from your childhood, bro, who just hasn't changed? Like, I've got friends who still get I'm 31. I've got friends who are 31, 35. They still get fucked up every weekend. That was me when I was like 20. What's the deal with so many guys just staying stuck and not growing, not developing? Why does this happen? And how do we fix it, man? It's an epidemic. It's an absolute epidemic.
Growth for a lot of men it is a confronting thing and a scary thing because we can very easily get caught in the comparison game, and we might be growing at a certain rate, and then we're looking to the left or to the right and going, well, I'm not growing as fast as they are. I'm not good enough. Maybe I'll just stay fixed into what I know. And it's the difference between having a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Like a fixed mindset is, well, this is who I am. This is how I live my life. And that's probably what a lot of people that are, our age and still out partying every weekend and getting messed up, they're in that fixed mindset. This is safe. This is what I know. And I don't go out of that barrier. When we're in a growth mindset, it's like, okay, we've done that. What's the next phase of my life? What's the next phase of my life? How can I keep on growing? 1% better every single day. It's no days off. It feeds into what we shared about routine. No days off. Every single day I show up. Every single day I grow. No wasted moments. No wasted days. Every single day there are lessons, and that's why we teach about daily reflection. It's because every single day there is an opportunity for us to grow if we'll take hold of those opportunities.
I love that. That's really powerful. It's the growth mindset over the fixed mindset. And so many men are listening to this and they don't actually understand it. So let's break it down even deeper, right?
Mm.
There's one thing that destroys more relationships than anything else. It's the when then fallacy. The when then fallacy says, I'll change when. So you expect things to change on their own, but then when your partner leaves, you try and fix it because you've ignored the warning signs. It's the same with your health. Most men who are overweight, they change when they have a heart attack. But at that point, when that happens, then it's too late. It's the when then fallacy. Now, how do you overcome this fallacy? Well, you don't go to the hospital once you're healed. You don't start a fitness routine once you're healthy. You don't fix your marriage once it gets divorced. You decide today, hey, there are areas of my life where I have deficiencies and I have got a growth mindset. I'm going to start working on them before they get to the point of when then. More importantly, when my shit's good, my health, wealth, relationships are good, I'm going to still keep growing. I'm not going to chase perfection and think it's not good enough. I'm going to chase progress. And when you do that, then you win. That's what it means to have a growth mindset. So many men struggle with this. If you're listening to this podcast right now and you know you could be better, 1% better, make a decision today to do something about it. Take action, get into a routine to make that action real, non-negotiable, focus on what you want, and take responsibility for your life, which leads us to the sixth deadly secret every man must know, and that is to fail forward. Everything you just heard, my friend, if you listen this far, you know it will change your life. It's changed mine. It's made me a lot of money. It saved me a lot of time. I'll probably retire at 35. Sam will be on my yacht. We'll be having a great time. And that's all success from helping men. Like, we get paid to help men. For the haters out there, oh my God, we actually make money from what we do. How shocking is that? But everything we just taught, I've fucked up and failed multiple times. Multiple times, man. There have been moments where I wanted to kill myself. There have been moments where my marriage ended. There have been moments where, well, that was one moment. There have been moments where I felt like I wasn't good enough. I was depressed. There were moments where I didn't take responsibility. There have been moments where I didn't focus on the things I was grateful for. I just focused on all the negatives and the stories and how fucked up life was. There are moments where I had weeks or months at a time where I was in a terrible routine. There are moments where I didn't take action. The only actions I took were drinking alcohol and taking drugs. There are moments where I didn't grow. I went backwards. And all those moments were stepping stones on the journey to success. You are going to fail as a man. And the number one lesson you can take from that failure is the stepping stone to success. My daughter, she's 18 months old. When she was 6 months old, she was crawling and she got to a point a little bit later where she could stand, but her legs were so wobbly and she fell over and she got back up and she fell over and she got back up. And she did that hundreds of times. Now at 18 months old, she's running like a sprinter and she still keeps falling over, but she doesn't sit there wallowing in that. She fails forward and she never gives up on her goals. And that's the vision you get to have. I will fail forward and never give up on my vision to be the man my loved ones deserve. That's the mantra. You got to fail forward. It's the stepping stone to success. It's there to teach you something. And that's our mantra for the final deadly secret here is I will fail forward and never give up on my vision to be the man my loved ones deserve. Listen to that final frame. Man, if you're listening to this and something's resonated with you, like your loved ones deserve the best version of you. My stepfather, my wife downstairs, my daughter, Sam, my team member, my brother, my clients. I have a personal duty as a man. This is my operating system to show up as the best version of myself. And that's never perfect. It's constant growth. Because when I do that, that's the point. That's the purpose of my life. It's not to make money. It's to add value. Money comes from an exchange of value. But so many men, they fail and they give up. I've talked to men who have lost their businesses 12 years ago. They're still caught up on it. They went through a divorce 7 years ago. They're still caught up on it. Like, how does a man fail forward when they get so stuck in the past and living in those mistakes that eat away at them?
Failure is it's like this defeating terminology for men, isn't it? If I fail, then
Mm,
I am a failure. What if we could shift our perspective and look at the mistakes, or look at those moments where we fall over, we get knocked down,
mhm,
we take hold of the lessons in that. It's that growth mindset we were talking about. You take hold of the lessons and you use those lessons as fuel
mhm.
to get back up and to keep going. And each time you do that, you level up.
Mhm.
Each time, and then you get knocked down. Like we know what that's like, don't we? We get knocked down. There's that song, get knocked down, but I get up.
Get knocked down, you get up again. Ain't
Always
nobody gonna bring me down. Yeah.
it's so true. You
Yeah.
know, you talked about Talia standing up, falling over. I remember when my son Luca was doing that, and now like we sprint down the hallway chasing each other, and I'm like,
Mhm.
2 years ago we weren't doing that,
Yeah.
but he made a decision to keep getting up.
Yeah.
When we do that, we're not the same person. We're a better version of ourselves. It
Yeah.
infiltrates into growth, and when we take responsibility,
Mhm.
we take the lessons that are within those mistakes, those failures, those getting moments of getting knocked down, and we
Exactly.
use it as fuel to become even better, even stronger, even more powerful. And
Yeah.
eventually we arrive at that destination that we've set out along the way, which is really cool.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. If you're a man who's stuck in the past, you might have fucked up, made a mistake, cheated, trauma, death of a loved one. Something's happened in your past that you struggle to let go of. Just remember that the only way your past can affect you is if you invite it into the present.
Hmm.
And this is the truth. You're not defined by who you used to be unless you've murdered or raped or you're a pedophile, which most people aren't. You're not defined by your past. You're defined by who you decide to be today. And the way to let go of the past is to learn from it so that you can let it go and to choose to be someone better today, to grow, to level up, to focus on the positives, to get into a good routine, to work on yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, to become the best version of you. And when you do that, the past can no longer haunt you or affect you. The way to let go is to live in the moment and to be the best version of you for the people around you or for the people you've lost because they look down on you wanting you to be that guy. It's a
Hmm.
gentle reminder, let go of the past by working on you because
Hmm.
it can't affect you if you don't let it. And that means failing forward, right? So this is the Empowered Man Code. This is the first thing we teach our clients who invest thousands of dollars to work with us, and they're happy to invest that money. There's tons of testimonials of ours out there. So I'm going to read these out to you one more time, Sam. And I want you to read it with conviction. Then I'm going to read it with conviction. And then we're going to actually share it with the viewers and the listeners so they can download this exact copy. They can have it for free. We'll give it to them right away. So I'm going to read it out. Then I want you to read it out, Co. So I take full responsibility for all of my thoughts, feelings, actions, and reactions. Sam?
I take full responsibility for all of my thoughts, feelings, actions, and reactions.
If you're listening at home, I want you to read it out after Sam has done it. You can pause the video, say it out loud. There's power in words. Number two, I focus on the things I'm grateful for every single day. Where focus goes, energy flows.
I focus on the things that I'm grateful for every single day. Where focus goes, energy flows.
I am a man of routine. I am committed to completing my non negotiable standards.
I am a man of routine. I am committed to completing my non negotiable standards.
I am a man who takes massive fucking action whether I feel like it or not.
I am a man who takes massive fucking action, whether I feel like it or not.
I become at least 1% better every single day. I'm chasing progress over perfection.
I become at least 1% better every single day. I am chasing progress over perfection.
I will fail forward and never give up on my vision to be the man my loved ones deserve.
I will fail forward and never give up on my vision to be the man my loved ones deserve.
How does that feel, brother?
It's great.
Powerful. These are 6 deadly secrets, man, that will just change your life forever as a husband, father, business owner, man. This is how you win at life. And this is an operating system. Whenever something comes up for you that isn't serving you, you come back to this. Something happens in your business you're not happy for. Cool. What can I take responsibility for? What can I focus on? What can I take action on? How can I implement something into my routine? How can I learn from this failure? It just becomes who you are. It's a default setting. But for that to happen, you got to read it. You got to believe it, not just once, every single day. Come back to it. This is the Empowered Man's Code, and it will serve you so deeply. So if you enjoyed this podcast, there'll be a link to this down below in the show notes where you can go and download it. We don't need your email or anything like that. It's also a part of our core program and our 7-day challenge. So there will be some links down below to check those out if you want to be a part of them, if you want to inquire about becoming a client. This is just scratching the surface of what we have to share with you. Now, next week, make sure you show up to the podcast. We're actually going to be breaking down our entire Empowered Man Power Up routine. It's basically a millionaire routine. We've got guys who make $100 million a year doing this routine, guys who make $1 million a year, guys who have just started out in terms of business, guys who are going through a divorce, guys who have fixed their marriage, powerful men just like you who are growing and getting into that powerful state. So make sure you check that out. And if you got value, guys, please reach out to us, send us an email or drop a comment wherever you're listening. Give it a 5-star review and a thumbs up so we can help more men, and feel free to share this with someone who needs it. Before we jump off, Sam, anything you want to share about the code and the operating system?
I think we've nailed it, bro.
Awesome. Have an amazing day, team. We'll see you next week for the Empowered Man podcast. Hey, brother, I hope you got a ton of value from that podcast. If you would like to work with us personally and get some of the best content we've launched for our clients who have invested thousands of dollars, then go and complete our 7-day Empowered Man Challenge. This mission will completely transform your life. If it doesn't, you won't have to pay a cent. It's only $37, and it is game-changing if you want to take back control. So if you want to find balance between business, family, and life, if you want the relationship, the health, the wealth that you deserve, then go to elitebusinessman.com/challenge. That's elitebusinessman.com/challenge, and take up this challenge to take back control of your life.